Family, family already fell, so they need.
Doya, doya, wenya. Doya, doya, wenya. Doya, doya, wenya. Wenya stay, yaga, yaga, way. Yaga, yaga, way. Doya, doya, wenya. Doya, doya, wenya. Doya, doya, wenya. Wenya stay, yaga, yaga, way. Yaga, yaga, way. Doya, doya, wenya. Doya, doya, wenya. Doya, doya, wenya. Wenya stay, yaga, yaga, way. Yaga, yaga, way. Doya, doya, wenya. Doya, doya, wenya. Doya, doya, wenya. Wenya stay, yaga, yaga, way. Yaga, yaga, way. Yaga, yaga, way. Yaga, yaga. I always thought I was hip to what's going on, but I sure got this past election wrong. I mean, I spent a day just a week before election day sitting in a chair on the patio at the Crystal Pier, breathing in the Pacific Ocean's breezy air, a strawberry margarita and a bag of sour cream and onion potato chips in my reach. As my eyes followed the activities playing out on the beach, frisbees flying, waves being ridden, lovers strolling hand in hand in the sand, I had but one thought on my mind, a wish that I could be among those who had gathered at Howard University, having a good time, awaiting the moment when a bright and beautiful Black woman would become our nation's first woman president. So very certain that each would happen no matter what the polls were saying, because I thought the data collecting folks were shucking and jiving and telling jokes. And my assuredness wasn't about her policies, what she'd do about climate change, or Gaza, or Ukraine. No, none of these things, as it was just about who this man and this woman candidate were as human beings. Human beings. Human beings. And he was seen falsely and clownishly, waving a tall tale as a citizenry valued living in democracy, where we could make progress toward being the best we can be. Best we can be. So here I am at 86, Ernie McCrae, still at it a little bit, Ernie McCrae, wondering what little I can do to make this country I call home feel fit. My taste a wit. My taste a wit. Of course, having no real idea how things are going to go, I do hope, particularly because of all the talk about deporting millions of people from our country, that we, through talking to the streets and demanding that our politicians, whomever they may be, locals or state representatives, and those in DC, will find ways to see that not a single child is caged. Not one child is caged, which to me was Donald J's greatest sin. And we just can't ever allow him or anyone else to commit such a crime against humanity and the children ever again. Welcome to Second Sunday Poetry. Jimmy Collins, if you knew him when he read, he would finish a page and he would go like that. So I wanted to honor Jimmy Collins today. I wanted to honor the Jihmye Nation, the mighty Jihmye Nation. We're on Jihmye land right now. So I want to honor my Jihmye brothers and sisters, and want to thank you for all the years and decades and millenniums that you took care of this land that we're standing on now. And the people that are in charge now haven't learned a damn thing, have they? And that's why I'm wearing this hat. Let's make it native again around here. Let's make it native. There was a guy in West Walker.
Brother Ernie McCrae.
Ernie McCrae, he wrote that poem. If you want to see the whole thing, go to OB Reg. It is on it's on that website, and I got that for you. I wanted to have that consciousness. And so let's welcome us and give some love to our Zoom master, Alfred Williams, who's got us on Zoom right now. And I think our feature is here all the way from Baylor University in Texas. Let's give him some love. Julio Cesar Aguilar. And Julio, I know you've been here before. We're going to have half the poets read, and then we're going to have you do your 25 minutes. So after the seventh poet, which is Olivia, have you been here before? After Olivia Mercedes, private joke. Well, not everybody knows it though. Okay, let me think about somebody else that I want to dedicate our time together to. And if you'll notice, Chris Vinoy is on Zoom, and I hope his mom is sitting next to him. Dee Vinoy, my dental buddy, we're dedicating our time today to you. We hope you heal from that fall that you just had, and that maybe we'll see you here next month, because we love it when you're here, Dee Vinoy, and I love it that you're my dental buddy. Okay. Is she on there? Oh, I know Chris is on there. Oh, did he go away?
He was there. Yeah, he's there. He's up in the upper left-hand corner. Upper
Oh,
left.
yeah, I told you. Okay. All right, yeah. Is that Dee there? Yeah.
Yeah, say hi. Say hi, Mom.
Let's do some love for Dee.
How are you today?
Can you hear it, Jim?
Yeah, we hear, and Dee, we're dedicating our time together today to you, so you'll get well faster.
Dedicating the day to you so you get well faster, Mom.
Hmm?
Jim said he's dedicating the day to you so you'll get well faster.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
All right, well, I'm glad she's here. That's really cool. All right. Thank you. Housekeeping. If you need to use the restroom, it's right over here on the left. Please avail yourself to the best deli in La Mesa. Great coffee, and if you've never had the Italian soda, I really recommend that. And if you want to read today and you haven't got the sign-up list, I've got it, and I hope you'll sign up today to read. This was written by someone named H.T. about Rainier Maria Rilke. And as I think about each of you and the talents in the room today, I think this really applies to each of you in certain ways. Poetry is reality's essence, vision, and made manifest by one endowed with a perception, acutely sensitive to sound, form, and color, and gifted with a power to shape into rhythmic and rhyme verbal symbols the reaction to life's phenomenon. The poet molds that which appears evanescent and ephemeral in image and in mood into everlasting values. The definition of evanescent is soon passing out of sight, memory, or existence, quickly fading or disappearing. Ephemeral, the definition is lasting for a very short time. And so when I listen to you all these years that we've been coming here, I know that what you're writing is about your values that I want to be my values too. So thank you for all. 2010, we've been doing this all these years. So thank you for coming. Give yourself some love, please. Well, we're ready for our first poet. And I happen to know him very well. He's an Army veteran. He had a very interesting marriage. He's an award-winning poet. And it doesn't matter what you call him, but just don't call him late for dinner. This is Joe Milosh.
You know,
Is it true?
You look like Joe?
Isn't?
AD, I'm glad you're here. So, part of my title for this poem is in Latin. And thinking about that, coming here, it occurred to me that our vice president-elect believes that the language in heaven is Latin, which means if they speak Latin in heaven, maybe we should have a Latin-only language in America, and then we should speak Latin. And so I thought about that, and I said, well, who would get behind that? And the only person I could think of was Chris Nelson. Because then his students could read Caesar's memoir. And you know, his last entry on the Ides of March was very short, you know. It was et tu, Britus, ouch, 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 which is, you know, Latin for ouch, ouch. So, but the name of this poem is Her Angel Whispered, let's say, the lay, which means God would want it like that. When my wife began to lose her mind, I realized our guardian angels talk to each other. This happened because my wife accidentally started a fire in the kitchen. She tried to extinguish the blaze with a paper bag. Before she screamed, something urged me to rush into the kitchen, pick up the skillet, toss it in the basin, and douse the flames with water. Her shrieks, the banging of the pan against the porcelain sink, and the smoke streaming out the window attracted our neighbors. As a pair of doves flew from the bottle bush nearest our window, I heard worry in the couple's voices. I knew if my wife and I had been Irish, our neighbors would say, Lord, deliver us from the fury of the O'Flatterys. I thought about screaming, but my guardian angel placed in my mouth the words, no harm, no foul. And once said, I had to live by them. For the first time since we were married, I sat in the kitchen and read while she cooked. Why are you reading in here after all these years, she asked. So you won't have to yell when you want me, I replied. Tell me why, she said. Why what? Why nothing, her smoky answer. That was the start. Soon I chopped cilantro, cebolla, and papas. After that, she took my place at the table. In the beginning, she gave instructions. Then she watched. Later, I brought her into the kitchen. At first, she wore a small bib, then a bath towel, and finally a beach towel and a shower cap. One day, I began to feed her. Then hospice came and placed her bed in the living room. Her mother moved in. I hired a nurse. Soon Patsy stopped talking. Later, she stopped eating. The day that her friend Susie Martinez visited, our guardian angels held a conference. As the woman rolled Patsy onto her side, a winged spirit placed my hands on my wife's face. She opened her eyes, looked at me, and died. With the aid of my thumbs, I closed her eyes. Mom, Susie, I said, and then my meager Spanish failed me, and I couldn't remember how to say that she died. Breathing on my lips, my guardian angel gave me these words. Patsy, cerrado su ojos para todo siempre. Patsy has closed her eyes forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Um, usually people throw tomatoes if I read more than one poem. So that's okay. That's okay. I don't mind. But I'm reading this because Jim asked me. So if you want to throw tomatoes, throw them that way. Why is the scar on a man? Why is a scar on a man a mark of distinction? On a woman, a mark of disfigurement? I don't know. Why is it funny when a man loses his hair and tragic when a woman loses hers? I don't know. Could you make love to a bald-headed woman? What will you say when the x-rays turn the scar on her breast, bra, hamburger red? When she's bald, lost her eyebrow, and lies closed eyes with a skeletal look? Will you kiss her and tell her she's beautiful? I don't know. What do you do in the bedroom when she is thinking of death and she cries? I hold her hand and I breathe. Thank you.
There's some people in here that have been to John Fox's workshops, and John Fox read that poem that you just heard, and it just blew my socks off. I couldn't believe the beauty of that and the man. And then he walked into a Steve Cowett workshop, and he did, oh, hey, Joe Walsh is here. And then so I got his phone number, and he can't get rid of me anymore.
Uh-oh. This don't work out.
So we're gonna try something a little different today. I've been kind of hit and miss on Zoom people. So we'll do spacebar, Zoom, and spacebar. We'll do alternate like that. So the people on Kathy, are you ready to read?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Jim.
All right.
A
And
top-
so Give her some, nice, round of applause for Kathy.
Thank you. First time you became aware of injustice. A small town, Lytle, Texas cemetery. A path dividing Anglos and Mexican grave markers. The Anglos' graves had their backs to the Mexicans. My uncle, who I had just met, most eloquently explained. I felt a sense of disgust. I'm half Anglo. My mother's family came from Poland. We were never taught discrimination of any kind. Mexicans that came to Michigan were mostly migrant workers in the 40s and 50s. That's how my Hernandez Velan family began. They came here to pick berries and fruit, living in the squalor of the shacks the farmers housed them in on the land. The local kids would fight with them when they went into town. That's how Papa got that long scar. It wasn't from gallbladder surgery like he told us. Papa returned to Michigan, denying his heritage, and changed his name from Jose to Joseph. He was dark-skinned and called names. He never attended any of my school events. He encouraged me to get an education. I worked on farms to make money. I earned the $400 that paid for my first semester of books. I found my own financial support. College degrees broke the cycle. The next one is, there are bridges that I have crossed. Driving over the Huey P. Long Bridge in New Orleans when I was young, taking him to work on a ship, dropped him off at the top of a levee. A skiff came to pick him up. Relief washes over me. A trip down a narrow road with live oak trees, stately mansions along the way, plantations. Probably looked the same except for a paved road. Some 100 plus years after slavery had officially ended. It really didn't end when they said. In 1979, discrimination was still there. Could feel the agony of the slaves that once lived there. An eerie need to get out of there fast and get back home. The ghosts of their pasts with me. I wasn't alone. I turned the wrong way and ended up near Baton Rouge. The lights from a nearby oil refinery out in the distance. It was dark when the road narrowed, a dead end, water straight ahead of me. Would this be my end at age 21? I backed up and turned around. It was the Mississippi River. I could have drowned. Our communication was ship-to-shore radio. The bridge I crossed was to end an abusive relationship with him. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Our next poet has been involved with theater for most of her career. She's been a voice coach. She told me she just got a gig in Wisconsin working with new actors trying to learn their trade. And she's very, very talented herself. This is Jan Gist.
Hello, I just came from Authentic Movement class and wrote this, so I'll just pop this forward. Anything that happens to any one of us happens to all of us. This is my church, and our congregation is every mineral ingredient, every bird in flight, every screaming child in bombed out ruins, every dried out ashen branch of every drought sucked hill, even the guts of oligarchs festering in stolen golden calves. I open them, I crack them open like an egg and offer their compiles to return to the earth so the earthworms devour then scatter the wealth in fertile fertilizer to renew all of us as one again. I just wrote the word again. I just felt like celebrating my dear friend Drew Burns, who died a few years ago. He was my first love and a lifelong friend. So here are a few about him. This is about my first meeting him in 1967. This is called Drew in the Doorway. Over the years that I shared my body with men, first was Drew, who shadowed himself in the doorway as self-defined gatekeeper of the threshold of the theater department's promise of a future. Wild red hair on top of his brash, daring height, I recognized his masculinity's magnet to my femininity and his posing proclamation of assumption. I chose or fell into his pose or spell and took on the role of a girl to his boy to gain entrance into the theater department. He introduced me to his daring and rebellion and his self-proclaimed right to fight for a life in theater, promised beyond the shadowed doorway into the theater department. And I played the girl, put on the expected coy, adapted my own talent for sly secret keeping, and cast myself into dialogue of angles, silences, and careful hints of possible promise of acquiescence, just enough to be allowed entrance into the theater department. Drew, to Drew, on your first birthday after you died. My grief. I want to talk to you about my grief today, how it includes a thorny, aching thank you for past pleasures of flavors, places, ideas, and talk. Hours and hours and days rolled into decades of talk over phones across miles and in New York City corner restaurants and in wandering drives across miles with the latest pal dog in the back seat and hushed secrets told or spilled as we sat on the floor of your New York City apartment, bracing our backs against the wall to hold us up from crumbling fully into the hell that yawned in front of me while you held me safe, or the abyss in front of you while I reminded you of your tenacity and long line of stolen or invented survivals and successes. We partnered in celebration of our daring to achieve in spite of the agonies we endured, and we walked each other through the mire and chaos, each holding the light for the other, every time, to walk a bridge to safer ground, climb a staircase to higher ground, land to stand, to ground and root into different, better perceptions and better real life actual places, to keep on living and daring to thrive by our own pure stubbornness that we also shared. So I should stop now. Thank you.
Angeli, are you ready to read?
Yes, I am.
Let's give Angeli some love, please.
Thank you so much. I wish I could be there in person every time, but unfortunately, I live several hundreds of miles away. So this hybrid situation is really nice for me. I wrote 2 poems a few hours ago. They're about 2 minutes each. Here is the first one. It's called Saved. I tear down the avalanche of misconceptions, for I am brash and I am brazen, and I will spit truth into your face like it's the last thing I'll ever do. Yes, I may be boisterous at times, but have you ever looked a depressed person in the eye and seen them for who they truly are? Not the suicidal thoughts, not the stepping over eggshells, but the passion and the purpose that once encapsulated this person before their depression set in. I was that person. I had a zest for life, There was no one who could stop me. But then tragedy happened over years, and my brain chemistry changed. I lost myself into a decade-long depression, and now I am eking my way back. My knuckles are bleeding and the mountain cold and barren, but there is a glimmer of hope again. Don't give up on your friends who never want to go out. There is a dying person inside of those hollow eyes. Every day they wake up. It's okay to just listen and say nothing more. I was torn up, and now I am cautiously amazed that I too have been saved. The next one,
Beautiful.
thank you so much. The next one is called We Are Women. Take my femininity into your hands and cherish it. For if you do not honor my sacred encumbrance, then I will abolish it from the ground upon which you stand. For my ancestors stand tall, they lift me up as I bleed freely for 5 days in a month. I do not steal joy from others, I make my own. And the sagging twins on my bosom have been pillars of righteousness for decades of the scorned life I have thus far lived. With meager wages and lesser positions than the white privileged men who are the managers and executives running my work life, running the country, wrapped up in dollar signs while I stand in line at the free food pantry, eating up the lies which society has fed to us. But I am not ashamed that I have breasts and a healthy vagina, for in the next heartbeat, I will be soaking up the passion with which my grandmother was not able to live into by the oppression of my grandfather. We are women, and we will choose to live on our own terms in the generations to come. Thank you.
Well, you just made America great again. Thank you for coming today. That was nice, very nice. Bruce Gordon was stationed in Tan Son Nhut Air Base in Vietnam. That air base was shelled every day by the Viet Cong. 122s, which is rockets, mortars. He served our country well. This is Bruce Gordon.
Jihmye Air Base. Oops. And for you, no se te ipsum. This is called Manifest Destiny. The blackbird lights big on top of the fig tree. He's run off the pigeons and most of the songbirds. Maybe the coo of a morning dove remains as scarce as figs after the glutton has limped on.
Oh. I'm gonna do a shout out for Marie Johnson. She's the program manager at KNSJ. Marie, can you just show us your video and just say wave hi to us? Marie Johnson from KNSJ. That stands for Network of Social Justice. And Marie, after Julio does his 25 minutes, if you have an announcement about what's going on at KNSJ, please, I'd like to give you the microphone and you can make an announcement. I should have done that last month, but I didn't, so I'm doing it this month. So
Okay,
that's Marie.
thanks. Thank you.
Julio, we're gonna do about 3 or 4 more poets and then we'll have you feature. Joby, are you reading today?
Yes, she's reading.
Yes, yes, I am.
This is Joby Avonlea. Let's let everybody give her some love, please.
These are lyrics to a song. I haven't practiced the music enough, so you're just going to get the lyrics today. The title is Listen More. I want to clearly care for my neighbor, lisping with my heart. My words get mixed up. I want to see each person as family, part of my humanity. Want to do right by them, so I'll listen more than speak. I'll take a first step, not hesitate. I'll feel their heart to find my words with empathy. The only way I will wake up from this mess of being so careless. Want to do right by them, so I'll listen more than speak. Want to do right by them, so I'll listen more. Thank you.
Thank you, Joby. Glad you came today. I was at a talking circle last night, and this young man said a lot of things that I value. And he was a good friend of Jimmy Collins's. And if you're watching us online for the first time today, the gentleman behind me on the banner is Jimmy Collins. He was a Black Panther back in Indianapolis back in the day. And if he befriended Jesse, that makes Jesse my brother too. When he reads, he's very talented young man. This is Jesse Cunningham.
Thanks for calling me a young man. Hi, Chris. Hi, Dee. So this first poem, it's very short. It's by Gwendolyn Brooks. It's called We Real Cool. The pool players, 7 at the Golden Shovel. We real cool. We left school. We lurk late. We strike straight. We sing sin. We thin gin. We jazz June. We die soon. The sweeper. It starts and ends in layers of dust, growing piles of near weightless matter swirl in spirals, cover it all. The key is to realize I am not averting the end in dust and matter. I am a channel, a catalyst agent for its subtle and vast gradual movement to cover everything moves in the universe, and my space is to aid the shifting of piles, dust, and matter flowing in currents over distance and time, guided by brushes of my broom. I become the direction of my movement, holding the wood handle, sweeping drifts of hair, dust, matter, sloughed off skin, insect legs, forming piles whisked away to form new concentrations and cover everything, collects in sinkhole piles, gravity gets it all. Collects matter and piles, I am my broom. Bristle movement, direction defined in layers of dust. It starts and ends, the sweeper.
Chris Vanoy, you ready to read? There he is. That's Chris Vanoy. Let's give him some love. I'll produce it. Is he frozen?
Oh, you?
Hello, I can talk to you now. Ha ha. Let me see here.
You're on.
Okay. I don't have anything to say though. Let me see. View, there we go. The gallery. There we go. All right, there I am. Okay. Let me see. I have to go in here. Is that Michael Ortega I heard laughing in the background?
Yeah, that might laugh.
All right, let me see. Well, what page, Michael? Give me a page number.
17.
Okay. I wanted Bukowski's woman. She was long and lean and always dressed in black. Her breath smelled of stale beer, of cinnamon, of the cloves that she chewed on like candy. She opened my heart to the surgeon's skill with words and smells and tears. With the fear she howled in the night in the darkened alleyway behind the hotel where she lived with him. I could hear them fighting. It made me want her even more. I maybe want to drag her through my door, but she was Bukowski's woman. So I just sat in the bar across the street, cracking peanuts, throwing the shells on the floor. I wanted Bukowski's woman. She was long and lean and always dressed in black.
Thank you, Chris. So Joe, Bruce, Michael, Billy Kay, Mom, myself are in a thing called Steve Survivors. And we've been meeting together. Steve passed away 5 or 6 years ago, and about a year after he passed, we decided that we would continue his legacy. This is Michael Turner. Okay.
Michael. Really? How did that happen? Magic. Back when I could run, now I can't. Yeah. Friday night news here. Intentions toward people who are restless, that live in the winded tunnel of withdrawal. Drag beatitudes, albeit blindly, outside the universe, somewhere near a low-flying plane of existence. In a humble way, leaves it all behind. No, it's not a hustle, unknowingly hidden in the street. It's late at night with lovely minds. Could be my past generations turning around themselves, gulping for air. The light we carry, the sacredness in all things, to be grateful for all there is in love and in harmony with whatever gets through it.
in my own way, gives and receives joyful connections, prompt gratitude. There it is, full circle. Well, here's the thing, the part where the light fades in and out, looking at the center of awareness as it's looking back at me. And in the end, there it is, too far ahead of itself to make any difference, to be open-minded, random, and supportive, all at once, terrestrial, site-specific. Along comes a gravitational wave. How magnificent, how magnetic, the probability. Thank you.
Julio, you'll be up after this next poet, please. And this next poet's very special. She's very young. We really invite young people to come here a lot. And she is very talented. This is Olivia Mercedes.
Hey guys. I'm gonna do two short ones today. Y'all happen to be the day before the poetry slam final, so I am gonna rehearse some shit that I might do tomorrow. To the strangers who've asked me where my boyfriend is. I know! Starting a conversation with a total stranger can be intensely intimidating, particularly in our heteronormative society that conditions us to believe that this responsibility disproportionately belongs to men and men only, which made my queerness feel extraordinarily inexperienced when my sexuality made a career change in the onboarding process to being queer publicly, suggested I learn the skill called how to ask out a woman. So I get it. You think you're just being clever, that this is a harmless icebreaker. It's just a quick and painless way to find out if someone's available. So I do understand why my response jolted you the way it did when you walked over and coyly asked me, so, where's your boyfriend? I smiled back at you, gazed directly into your eyes and said, he's dead. None of you were expecting this is where this would go. Some of you very simply admit to me, I don't know what to do with that. Some of you become embodied with your own grief that promptly pours out in a release of authenticity. Most of you apologize to me profusely. Not for addressing me as a possession before a human being, which is the apology I wish you could be reconditioned to believe. No, you apologize to me for my loss. And again, I get it. This is simply what we're conditioned to say when someone has passed away. But to be honest with you, this is perhaps the one part of our interaction I wish you wouldn't apologize for. In fact, I'd like to thank you because you've just given me a reason to remember how fortunate I am to know love so deeply. Because the only true loss would have been living my life without ever loving him at all. I'd rather have to suffer the pain of his physical absence than have never danced with his soul. I'd rather have to tell you he's dead than to have never met, than to have always remained a stranger to him. So thank you. Strangers who've asked me where my boyfriend is, for giving both of us a moment to remember we are all much more human than we're conditioned to believe. That there is more than one answer to our soul's request to connect, that love exists in far more forms than we're taught to let it, whether it's pronouns or he, she, them, they, you, me, us, yesterday, today, tomorrow, or right now, whether love lives inside an embrace between our bodies or between our memories, because back before this society could reduce love down to a patriarchal possession to be controlled, distributed, and capitalized. Back before love was assigned a limit, a creed, or a law, before it was so endangered that it became political at all. Back before we were taught to exchange its authenticity for cleverness, before you and I met, before you walked over here and asked me where my boyfriend is, and I used his being dead as a way to remind all of us, as a way to liberate all of us from this intensely conditioned moment, because back before love became the plot twist to a poem, it was and still is the first thing that makes us human. Thank you. If I quote you at the beginning of a poem, It's probably because you said something shitty. And as amusing as it is to see each crooked face, every cringe, raised brow, and awkward breath to which my psychiatric diagnoses are met, I like to skip the discomfort of undeserved judgment and use what I call the ultimate stigma hack. Because you see, my list of acronyms spells the label disabled, which means I have a nicely stigmatized reply to that capitalist inquiry. So, what do? My go-to reply is I do my best. But as you imagine, this response lacks satisfaction. But if I say I'm disabled, the dissatisfaction becomes suspicion because, as you can see, my exterior is currently in great condition. So their chin tucks slightly in as they ask what exactly my disability is. As if I am being pardoned at the bar, but their face contorts again when I present my credentials, citing my psychiatric differential, then they usually stop talking. Occasionally, they say something that gets them quoted in a poem, but as you notice, this poem did not start with a quote, but rather a reference to a hack. Now, I apologize, it's not exactly universal, but for me, it has been life-changing. You see, it turns out that my brain contains more acronyms than just the ones in the DSM-5. Thanks to a series of seizures that nearly ended my life, I now have one spelled DNET, or Decembroplastic Neopenithrial Tumor. Yes, that's a brain tumor. I know, my excitement seems misplaced, but the irony is too good not to praise. You see, not only has it been there my whole life, it's literally wrapped around my amygdala. The part of my brain specifically blamed for my psychiatric pain. My tumor is the bacon wrapped around the meat of my issues. And guess what? Everyone fucking loves bacon. No one doubts your struggles when you describe them with a term so crispy as tumor, so well greased with acceptance and dripping with fatty reverence, even though I am referring to the same cut of meat of the same organ as before. The scar on my scalp is looked at with respect, though it is directly related to all of the rest. The word tumor is not interrogated. There is no cringe, no raised brow, no suspicion, no contorted grin, just a jaw dropped open because surely brain surgery is the hardest thing in life to win, and I'm not saying it was easy. But for me, battling stigma sits much higher on the list of things that make me wish I didn't exist. Yes, there are all kinds of risks. The medications alone make you want to die sometimes. I guess that's something I'm just used to, so forgive my excitement. It's not that I don't understand the gravity of a brain tumor, it's that the gravity of not being understood outweighs things it never should. Brain surgery should be harder than finding a good therapist. It should be scarier than a psych hospital. It sure as hell should be more intimidating than a social interaction. I didn't create the inequity, but I am enraged by the irony that the world could be so cruel as to make a brain tumor something I celebrate, a treat I savor, my ultimate hack to surviving the kindness our world still lacks. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's give her some more love. That was amazing. That was amazing. And is that event you're gonna be part of? Is that can anybody come?
Yeah.
And where is it?
It's at Queen Bee's tomorrow night. If you look up the San Diego Poetry Slam, they have tickets on Eventbrite. Shows at 7, or shows it starts at 8, doors open 7:30. But yeah, come because the 7 other people, Bear, you guys know Bear? Bear's competing. Rudy Francisco, Chrissy Croft, Joe Mack. Like, it's gonna be fucking epic. So if you don't come for me, come for the other people.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Wow.
It's gonna be really epic. So
Can everybody on Zoom hear that announcement, okay? Or do I need to repeat it?
Queen Bee's
Queen Bees, what time?
starts at 8, doors at 7:30.
Doors open at 7:30. And you know, Jimmy Collins said, we support the artist community, so we gotta have those announcements. That's why I want Marie to have her announcement. We have the authors table over here, and let's give Mercedes a little more love. So, are you ready for the feature?
Yeah.
Me too. He will defeat evanescence. His words and his poems defeat the ephemeral, like I read before. And this is a little bit about him. He showed up at an Activist San Diego event, and I asked him if he would come here and be part of the San Diego Tijuana Revolutionary Poets Brigade. And he said, of course, Fado. And He's a poet, translator, editor, director of poetry projects, and professor at Baylor University in Waco, Texas. That's where he is right now. Julio Cesar Aguilar was born in Ciudad Guzman, Mexico in 1970. He is the author of 24 collections of poetry and translations, works such as Rescoldos, Nostalgia de no ser mar, Embers, Nostalgia for Not Being the Sea, and El Desierto del Mundo, The Desert of the World, and has contributed to several anthologies. Aguilar is a neo-romantic poet whose works have a quality often sought after by current postmodern poets, but especially effective for romantic poetry. It's a kind of slippage. The links between feeling and image, feelings, images are effaced, and only instinct and emotion connect. The visual and the emotional are entwined. Reading Julio's poetry gives one a sense of his unbounded imagination, electrical intuitive connections, and unconventional spirituality. This is Julio Cesar Aguilar.
Thank you very much, Jim, for inviting me to read my poetry and to share it with you all. I'm going to read 6 short poetic process, and I'm going to start with Nostalgia. I'm going to read in Spanish and then in English. Hopefully you can understand Spanish. Nostalgia. No sé por qué, pero siempre que la siento deshacerse en mis oídos como finita arena de una piedra que se desmorona, desprendiéndose desde lo alto del templo, surge de mi interior un caudal de imágenes. Sale de mí un pasado que fluye igual a este día, encauzado por el vaivén de las horas, como un río arrastrando a lo largo de su corriente mis aguas de infancia. Bajo entonces al río y dentro de él me sumerjo, me dejo llevar. Voy encontrando allí la memoria de los años arrinconados, hace tiempo, muy atrás de la conciencia. Un poco más lejos, una risa infantil se desata para negar al miedo, ese miedo que crece no tanto ni tan rápido como su sombra. En bandada se elevan pájaros de luz ya liberados de la mano de mi espíritu y vuelan llevándose en sus cantos fragmentos de nombres y de algunos sitios. Nada que no haya conocido, que no reconozca, aparece frente a mis ojos con su verdadero significado. Así es claro todo. Adquiere su justa dimensión el mundo del pasado. Se hace comprensible ahora aquello que no lo era. Afina el oído. Oye bien y escucha conmigo ese goteo sonoro inundando al viento. Es el sonido de la solemnidad convertido en lamento, el lamento que en el aire se vuelve aire. Es el sonido nostálgico repitiéndose a la tarde, a la hora de todas las tardes. Campana que cae directa y toca el corazón del recuerdo. Cae y se agranda su eco, se va haciendo infinito.
Hi, Rosie.
Cae y sigue cayendo. Nostalgia. I don't know why, but whenever I feel it coming apart in my ears like fine sand from a crumbling stone, falling from the top of the temple, a flow of images emerges from within me. A flowing past comes out of me, just like this day, channeled by the coming and going of the hours, like a river dragging my childhood waters along the length of its current. I go down to the river then, and I immerse myself in it. I let myself go. There I find the memory of the years left in corners, long ago, far behind consciousness. A little farther away, a childish laugh is let loose to deny fear. that fear that grows not as much or as quickly as its shadow. In flocks, birds of light rise, already freed from the hand of my spirit, and fly, taking fragments of names and some places with them in their songs. Nothing that I have not known, that I do not recognize, appears before my eyes with its true meaning. Thus, everything is clear. The world of the past acquires its true dimension. That which was not understandable now becomes understandable. Tune your ears, hear well, and listen with me to that sonorous drip flooding the wind. It is the sound of solemnity turning to lament, the lament that becomes air in the air. It is the nostalgic sound repeating itself in the afternoon, at the time of every afternoon. The bell that falls directly and touches the heart of a memory. It falls, and its echo grows. It becomes infinite. It falls and keeps falling. The next poem is A las 3 de la tarde. El patio, iluminado por los rayos del sol de febrero, se llena de un melancólico canto. De todas partes, uno tras otro, en un principio distantes, luego más continuos, van agregándose arbitrariamente a la sinfonía coral. Desde las casas más próximas, desde los corrales últimos, de donde alcanzan, aún audibles, a llegar hasta aquí. Solo por ellos, por su aparición repentina, la tranquilidad de esta hora se ve turbada. Sí, porque todo está en calma, en absoluto reposo. Uno se imagina entonces un mundo callado, se va conformando con el silencio, con su presencia avasalladora, cuando de pronto surge de incontables lugares el inesperado coro. Y los pensamientos haraganes que merodean largo rato alrededor del sopor, encuentran así un motivo para, en el centro mismo del más alto agudo, perderse. El cantar de los gallos traspasa, como flecha, el enorme cuerpo del silencio que pende sobre un fondo soleado a las 3 de la tarde. At 3 in the afternoon, the patio, brightened by the rays of the February sun, is filled with a melancholic song. From everywhere, one after another, at first distant, then more continuous, they are added arbitrarily to the choral symphony. From the closest houses, from the last chorals, from where they reach, still audible, to arrive here. Only because of them, because of their sudden appearance, the tranquility of this hour is disturbed. Yes, because everything is calm, in absolute rest. One then imagines a silent world. One comes to terms with the silence, with its imposing presence, when suddenly, from countless places, the unexpected chorus emerges, and the lazy thoughts which lurk for a long time around the lethargy find a reason to get lost in the very center of the highest pitch. The crowing of the roosters pierces, like an arrow, the enormous body of silence that hangs over a sunny background at 3 in the afternoon. Next text is titled Dones de Primavera. Un rebaño de nubes negras pasea por el cielo, ensombreciéndolo, mordisqueando la luz vespertina de un sol ya tibio que, poco a poco, conforme descienden las nubes maduras y sueltan sus frutos de agua, se ausenta de nuestros ojos. De todas las flores del patio, Las rosas blancas dan la más feliz bienvenida a la primera lluvia de la primavera. Tal vez las rosas ya sabían que vendría pronto, porque desde esta mañana, cuando me acerqué a ellas, las vi como nunca en su plenitud. Al pasar por la bugambilia, el viento, en su afán de conquistar todo el patio, dulcemente la recorre, la envuelve bajo sus brazos de fino estremecimiento y le desnuda apenas unas ramas, dejando caer al suelo algunas cuantas flores con las que jugará a corretearlas después. Menudas gotas rápido se consumen, desaparecen, pero a pausas no cesan de caer. Siento entonces húmeda el alma, tierra propicia donde han de crecer, como divinos dones de perdurable fragancia, las más olorosas hierbas de la primavera. Gifts of spring. A flock of black clouds ambles across the sky, shading it, nibbling on the evening light of an already warm sun, which, little by little, as the mature clouds descend and release their fruits of water, disappears from our eyes. Of all the flowers in the yard, white roses give the happiest welcome to the first rain of spring. Maybe the roses already knew that it would come soon, because since this morning, when I approached them, I saw them like never before in their fullness. When passing by the bougainvillea, the wind, in its eagerness to conquer the entire patio, sweetly runs through it, wraps it under its arms of fine trembling, and strips just a few branches, letting some flowers fall to the ground to play chase with them later. Little drops quickly consume themselves, disappear, but with pauses, they do not stop falling. Then I feel my soul dampen, a propitious land where the most fragrant herbs of spring must grow, like divine gifts of lasting fragrance. Next poem is El Canelo. Tuve la fortuna de no verlo morir, aunque tampoco, después de muerto, acudí a verlo, y ni me hubiera gustado. Es cierto, como dicen, la muerte llega callada, silenciosa, sin hacer ruido. El último día que anduvo por el patio fue solo para darnos la noticia de su partida. Trabajosamente, ya sin fuerzas, se echaba en un rincón empeñándose en prolongar su hálito, y con su quejido salpicaba de vez en vez la quietud de la mañana lluviosa, haciéndola aún más triste. La agonía fue breve. Para antes del mediodía ya estaba en completo silencio el fulgor de sus ojos. Y ahora, desde aquel adiós, van y vienen los gatos olfateando esa ausencia y buscan entre los escombros algún rastro, alguna huella. Estéril parece la búsqueda, pero no, pues bajo su admiración elevan siempre la mirada cuando escuchan, como un lamento, el remoto eco de unos ladridos. Canelo. I had the good fortune to not see him die, although after he died, I didn't go to see him either, and I wouldn't have liked to. It is true, as they say, death comes close-mouthed, silently, without making noise. The last day he roamed around the yard, it was only to give us the news of his departure. Laboriously, already without strength, he would lie down in a corner, trying to prolong his breathing, and with his moan he punctuated from time to time, the stillness of the rainy morning, making it even sadder. The agony was brief. By noon, the brilliance of his eyes was already completely silent. And now, since that goodbye, the cats come and go, sniffing that absence and searching among the rubble for some trace, some footprint. The search seems sterile, but no, because under their admiration, they always raise their gaze when they hear, like a lament, the remote echo of a barking. Día nublado. Qué viento tan frío trastorna el letargo de las horas, que aun las ramas del árbol más fuerte tiritan en un insistente vaivén. Desde su mansedumbre, los helechos del patio dicen no, sí, a los caprichos inesperados del tiempo, y las otras flores, sumisas, a pesar de su fragilidad, todo lo soportan. El sol asoma, solo por breves momentos, por entre las nubes rocosas, su lánguida cara, pues al tropezar nuevamente contra ellas, en un instante vuelve a esconderse otra vez. Lento es el fluir de la tarde, sombrío y lento, como si de nada valiera el gorjeo de los pájaros que, aunque dentro de sus jaulas, sienten la oculta alegría y la hacen ritmar con sus cantos, como si fuera nada la esbeltez de la hiedra que se alarga sobre la pared, dando pródigamente a los ojos que la miran su intenso color de rosa. Ya pronto va a llegar la noche, y cuando la llovizna sea el último gusto que el tiempo se dé a sí mismo, el día habrá dejado entonces, seguros estaremos, una fina tristeza vibrando en nuestros pechos. Cloudy day. What a cold wind disturbs the lethargy of the hours, that even the branches of the strongest trees shiver in an insistent back and forth. From their meekness, the patio ferns say no, yes, to the unexpected winds of the weather, and the other flowers, submissive despite their fragility, endure everything. The sun appears only for brief moments between the rocky clouds, its face languid. Then when it bumps against them again, it instantly goes back to hiding. Slow is the flow of the afternoon, dark and slow, as if the chirping of the birds that, although inside their cages, feel the hidden joy and use it for the rhythm of their songs, were of no use, as if the slenders of the ivy that stretches over the wall were nothing, lavishly giving to the eyes that look at it its intense pink color. Night is coming soon, and when the drizzle of rain is the last pleasure that weather gives itself, the day will have left, then we will be sure. A fine sadness vibrating in our chests. And I'm going to finish my reading with this poem entitled El Abrazo. Segura, en confiada actitud, se va acercando la noche a esta cara del mundo. Pero afuera está el mundo, me dijo, ese mundo palpitante con señales de vida. Repentina suena una música desde lejos. La momentánea quietud acerca voces de niños que, jugando, gritan por la calle. Alguien enciende el motor de un coche y arranca luego. Estoy solo en el patio. Es cierto, viendo cómo se hace la noche, cómo es que llega, amable, bondadosa, hacia nosotros, calculando solo por divagar sus infinitas dimensiones, sintiendo sus grillos llenarme por dentro hasta lograr entender por sus murmullos que hacen más anoche, la noche, que también aquí adentro hay ruidos, respiraciones de vida. Después de breve ausencia, de la mano del tiempo, tú vendrás y has de decirme, ya es tarde, mas antes de tus palabras habrán sido los susurros de las estrellas, que ahora, más próximas a mí, se multiplican allá arriba, cada vez más mía, a pesar de la luna, de ese ojo siempre abierto, vigilante siempre. La noche me abraza con su oscuridad en un abrazo fecundo. El viento, que va y viene cargado de humedad todavía, la despoja de mitos. Y así algo sé de ella, de su más cálido secreto. Penetrable de tan abierta, me abismo en sus profundidades de misterio y claridad, mientras toda su extensión me nombra. Pero las estrellas, luego, con la timidez de su luz, hablarán tan solo como puntos suspensivos. The embrace, certain, with a confident attitude, the night is approaching this phase of the world. But outside is the world, I tell myself, that pulsating world with signs of life. Suddenly music sounds from afar. The momentary stillness brings the voices of children who, playing, shout in the street. Someone turns on the engine of a car and then it starts. I'm alone in the patio, it's true, watching how the night falls, how it comes lovable, kind, towards us, calculating just to rumble its infinite dimensions. Hearing its crickets fill me inside until I understand, through its murmurs that make the night more night, that there are also noises inside here, breaths of life. After a brief absence, by the hand of time, you will come, and you must tell me it's getting late. But before your words, there will have been the whispers of the stars, which now, closer to me, multiply up there, more and more mine, despite the moon, that I always open, always vigilant. The night hugs me with its darkness in a fertile embrace. The wind, which still comes and goes, loaded with humidity, strips it of myths. And so I know something about her warmest secret, penetrable because it is so open. I delve into its depths of mystery and clarity, while its entire extension names me. But the stars, later, with the timidity of their light, will speak only as ellipses. Thank you very much.
Let's give him some more love, please. Julio Aguilar. Me gusta el sonido de español. Dios te bendiga. Dos lenguas es dos regalos. I said, the sound of Spanish is pleasing to me. God bless you to him. And two languages is two gifts that he has. All right. And thank you for bailing me out because our preacher got sick and you were the seventh poet I called and you said claro. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. So at this point, I'm going to ask if Marie Washington will unmute herself and tell us a little bit about what's going on with KNSJ. And we want to support our artist community. And, this is one of the ways we do it. Marie?
Yeah, thank you, Jim. All of the presentations today were just lovely. Well, KNSJ is a San Diego public community station. We're grassroots, and the NSJ in KNSJ stands for Networking for Social Justice. Jim first had a poetry program on KNSJ at the very start of our station. And now that mantle has been picked up by Susan Taylor, who has appeared at some of Jim's open mics. And we have a platform for local spoken word artists, prose authors. We've even interviewed a newspaper investigative journalist talking about obviously journalism and what it getting at the truth, the work that takes. So the spoken word in a bunch of genres, including incidentally lyricists. And our platform is particularly available for the voices that are not heard on corporate media, are ignored. And it's something that Jim has talked about and other poets, is that the poets are the truth tellers. And we invite you to tell us the truth on KNSJ, on the program that's called The Electric Picnic and hosted by poet and author Susan Taylor. We are, as I said, a grassroots station, and we provide a platform for voices that are not heard. And we would welcome any of you who had other ideas about things that you would like to hear on an independent social justice station. Contact me, or Jim knows how to get hold of me to be on the air, and some suggestions on programming. We are working on an antenna repair and raising money, and the end of the year we're doing fundraising just like everybody else is, but with a progressive platform and providing an opportunity for people who are not heard with the upcoming administrations. It's really more important than ever that you might be able to help us out in fundraising and keeping our programming going strong and increasing the number of voices that we can get on the radio. So we are on the World Wide Web at KNSJ, and the NSJ is Networking Social Justice, knsj.org. Please tune in, sign up for our email letters. We don't inundate everybody with emails, and just keep up to date, and any kind of support that you can give us financially, otherwise, to keep our station going, which by the way is all volunteer. And I've been with the station for over 10 years. I started before it went on the air. Any kind of support, get the word out about us, would be very, very much appreciated. I think that's about it. Jim, you have anything to add to that?
No, so thank you for coming the last 2 months, and you're welcome here anytime. And can we give it a hand for Kay and SJ?
Thank you for the opportunity. You guys are all great.
Also, I'd like to say that one of our poets coming up, Annie Paliciano, Joe Malash, you heard from already, and myself, Chris Vanoy, and Lisa Ratnavera. We're going to have a table at the San Diego Writers Festival in April. And we also applied, the 5 of us have applied to do a panel at the Writers Festival on how social justice influences our poetry. And so I want to support the San Diego Writers Festival. Please go to their website and check out some of the stuff that's going on there. I really like what they're all about. And so it'll be at the Coronado Library in April. And go to the website, you can find out more information. Also, the San Diego Poetry Annual, the new one will be out on March 15th. And you can go online and you can download it for free. Or if you want to pay $20, you can get the book itself. And a lot of the poets that come here are in the San Diego Poetry Annual. I'm in charge of the Native American section, and we have some kids from the All Tribes American Indian Charter School that just nailed it this year, and they'll also be in there in the annual. So, does anybody else have an announcement they want to make at this point about something about what you're doing, poetry, activism, whatever? Anybody?
Shameless plug. Those are the best kind.
Peninsula Singers is a wonderful choir. It's not a.
Into the microphone, please.
Peninsula Singers is a wonderful choir. We are singing on the 13th this Friday. And I would love it if any of you could, if any of you can make it. I'll leave this flyer out over on the desk.
Wherever you be.
It is in the All Souls Episcopal Church. It's not a church choir, but we use that space in Point Loma.
Okay, great.
Thank you for any attention you can give them. And put me on the list because I will do one of these.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Well, Reverend Jimmy is really smiling right now because we want to continue to support each other. And Julio reminded us that there's sometimes when our souls are dampened, but there's always a fragrance that we can look for that will offset that dampening of our souls, like an election. And some of your poetry is a really nice fragrance for me. Thank you for coming today. Are you ready for some more poets?
Yeah.
Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Jen.
Oh.
I got an.
Uh-oh.
Wait, let me see.
That's Chris's.
Chris, you want to make an announcement?
No, he was talking to somebody else.
Okay, well, we'll keep going. All right, so we're gonna keep going. And this next gentleman is definitely a gentleman poet. You will love his reading voice. Remember, we're recording right now. And so Alfred is gonna put it all together and it'll be on the internet in the next few days. So there's more than just the audience that you're looking at. We'll have the internet audience, and that's why we want to make these kind of announcements so you have more visibility. So this gentleman is named Chris Ernest Nelson.
Too high. Yeah, I'm sober.
What?
Yeah, not too high. Is it the machine working?
Yes.
All right. It's a little dark over here, but I will dig deep into my resources. I am Chris Ernest Nelson, and this first poem is Come Winter. Your eyes may dim to autumn's gold. Your fingers ache and bend to turn the earth. each bulb and root put to winter sleep. The rough and tender touch of a lover's hand as the nodding years harvest understanding. You're turning from the gray in the mirror to search the quivering world for reassurance and resolve in the gusts of change. All bespeak your courage, each turning a token of fierce, enduring spring. As evening rises with the river mist, a deep chill pulls at your tired joints, but your voice is warm and true, and your face glows with the spirit of eternity. Thank you very much. Now, if you will give me the forbearance, I have two religious poems that I don't generally read, but since it is the holiday season, I will impose upon you. Thank you, Jim. This first one is called Alone with Jesus for Christmas. The ass and lamb stand near the fire with eyes aglow. They do not see the dark lean heavy on the door, nor do they seem to mind the searching voice of the lonely child. He cries, his cries do not touch them. They are well fed and secure in their fold. Just another of earth's creatures, little matter if he lives or dies. Their own young, sold into slavery or cut for the holiday table. There are no angel voices to comfort the babe, no wise men bearing gifts, nor adoring mother's arms. If he is to eat, he will have to eat straw. The ass and lamb are content with it. Let him be also. And this is his visit. How could an omniscient God, a loving Father, come into the world as his only begotten Son at just one point in history, 2,000 years ago, and leave after so short a visit, leave behind so few witnesses and so many ambitious liars, blasphemers, thieves, and murderers to carry his message, to tell us of the miracle of his visit, to teach us the purpose of his visit. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Chris. I have a lot of support in doing this. Alfred helped me with the sound today. Jack Smith usually does. Joe and Bruce helped me set up stuff today. And so I appreciate all your support. I tease people that call me and ask me about this. And I say, well, I'm the roadie, I'm the host, and I'm the janitor. And so when you guys are helping us out to make this thing work, I appreciate it very much. Jack brought some stuff today. He's donated this stand for us, this blue cord. He's donated that. He's always helping with the sound. He's an amazing poet. This is Jack Stewart Smith. That's why the mic's about.
Ah! Thank you, Fred. Got it? I see the hands.
This microphone stand has
An
a
announcement
handle
about
right
our books.
Oh, up and down like that. So if you got a 9-foot guy or if you got a 4-foot guy, you can make it work. I think we're gonna make it work. Okay. First of all, hello, family. I love you all.
when Mr. Jim Marino over here was singing his Native American song in the beginning, me being a Sundance supporter, I heard the drum beat. And it brought me back to Gila Bend, Arizona, where we've been going. And I could hear the drum beat behind you, Jim. And it's so powerful.
I heard the chord rattle.
He's got some good hearing. I have a beautiful, special, wonderful girl in my life. And she's my angel. And I love her with my life. And I would gladly give my life for her. She's my 30-year-old handy-capable daughter. A few days ago, I dreamed that we were together and she asked me, would you like your you back? Would you like your you back? And in my dream, my special needs child asked me, would you like your you back? So many of us have lost their you. Some were born never receiving it. Some have it torn from deep inside. Some yous lie in filthy dumpsters. Was it choice before entering this life to learn this precious lesson, a life without a you? A selfless choice, necessity taking priority, all the while pondering, could it truly be that in this caring and letting go, my you was a gift I gave? And I would never need it back. For you, my you, will always remain.
Yes.
And family, I gotta tell you, Miss Mercedes over here, her poetry made me realize, why is this group here? Community, why are we here? Why do people show up? Why is this happening? Because we're here to be seen. We're here to be understood. And we are here to belong. We belong to this community.
Yes.
And when a young sister shares and says, the most important thing is for you to understand me. That's why we're here, right, Jim? I mean, we're here to be understood, to be seen, to be heard. So this poem is one voice. There was heard a reaching, a yearning, a wailing, a cry. It echoed for many generations. I heard it once again this morning as I wept, knowing full well that every minute as this tiny blue orb spins, and there are more and more tears and voices calling out. And the echoes build up, repeating and asking, why? And the echoes build up, repeating and asking, why? And the echoes build up, repeating and asking, why? And there seems to be no answers. We humans continue on with our selfless ambitions, desiring to have it all at any cost to the other. How long will this experiment continue? Failure after failure, but perhaps that is required to attain a depth of love. Thank you.
Yeah.
Some poets warn, some poets are prophets, some poets are wordsmiths, and this poet incorporates all of that. This is Leah.
Yeah.
It's really good to be back here. I love this open mic. How's everyone doing today?
Yes.
Happy Sunday, everybody.
Yes, to you, Leah.
Oh, thank you. I was just appreciating, I don't know why. I normally don't like the way that it gets darker at the end of the year, but I'm actually kind of like loving the light vibe in the room right now. It's like low light in the romantic restaurant kind of deal. Anyway, I'm going to read a couple today. I'm going to start with a relatively quick one, and then hopefully I'll have time to read all of one more after that. This one, just kind of a short one. This is actually, I think this is a great moment to say a bit about poetic process. I love this piece because I have a system where I mark poems differently depending on whether they're complete. If they're finished, then I just put the title as the title in my Google Drive. If they are still to be worked on, then I mark them WI, and that's working incomplete. That means like there's something there, but like maybe I could read it in an open mic as a tester, but it's certainly not ready. And then, so this one was one that I was considering like incomplete, and yet it definitely seems complete today as I reread it. So I feel like that's a good kind of, it was a lesson for me to experience that. This is called Jumpstart. Scientists recently discovered that trees possess a visual apparatus. They are covered top to bottom, every inch of bark in photoreceptor cells that work like an infinite canvas, storing visual information about everything that passes every day for their entire lives. They cannot react to this information, and scientists continue to insist the trees are not strictly speaking conscious, but do, in some important sense, perceive us. Now, I was told as a young child that dogs do not have souls, that cats are as material as ash and dust, and now, according to credible research, the trees in Balboa Park see me as I pass singing on Wednesdays. Does that mean a tree can see me while I'm climbing? Can a tree see itself? Wouldn't it see every branch from every other branch? Would this look or feel like the tree anything like placing a series of mirrors so the reflections intersect so you can prove to yourself there's an infiniteness between you and 1,000 different versions of your self stored in every inch of the everything? It amazes me. I had the instinct when I was younger, didn't we all, to open the bathroom medicine cabinet mirror so that the mirrors reflected themselves infinitely. It can't be coincidence we all did this. We were whispering to ourselves, weren't we? We were correct and didn't know it. Children are almost always correct. I've learned this as a substitute teacher, but it's especially true here. Nothing is coincidence, and children's love of trees is the ultimate example. Children love climbing in a tall, branching, growing thing that converts light and poison into oxygen, and in some cases, food for us to eat. An organism that lives for thousands of years and watches us from hundreds of angles without ever speaking or interfering, but providing for us quietly all the while. Why does that sound familiar? Thank you. Forgot to start my timer, so hopefully I don't go over time. I'll try, maybe I'll just speed through this one. I speed through all my poems anyway, so that works out well. I'm Leah, by the way. Thank you for listening, everybody. And thank you. Can we give it up for this open mic and for the awesome space bar, please? I was thinking of great. This is one of those places that makes me proud to go out and support a community business. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. This one doesn't have a title because it's a phone poem. I don't remember where this happened. It's a while back, but I think it's a sentiment. Some of the sentiments here are some things people can relate to. Some of them are not, but we'll see. Hello, I am completely broken inside. How about you? What do you do for a living? Like God invented suicide ideation because most of us never get to have the experience of fending off a tiger attack, and that shit's not gonna work. God spent so much fucking time putting together the endocrine system. I gave you all the adrenal glands. I'm gonna use all the adrenal glands, God says, while arranging the most precisely calibrated bullshit to fuck with us. Like, I refuse to believe that my driver's side door, the glove box, and the air conditioning of my car all failed simultaneously on the same day. I refuse to believe that I just so happen to be both trans, which means tons of fucking blood draws, and also so terrified of needles that I have been banned by an international ethics committee from attempting to have my ears pierced unless I'm heavily sedated. I'm someone is fucking with me. Clearly, this is such a work. This is the work of a serious fucking prankster. I've not done a push-up in over a year, and I still have the physique of an off-season Olympic swimmer. I'm like Ned Flanders, extremely nerdy, obsessed with God, unforgivably obnoxious in excessive quantities, and also insanely fucking ripped relative to what you'd expect. Looking at me now. Now I need to be completely honest here. I have completely forgotten what I was talking about or where I was going with it. But one thing I do know is that forgetting is the universe's ultimate superpower. Even God forgets. And that means we sure as fuck do. This is why we only ever get inklings of our past lives in the form of deja vu and certainties we met someone before. Must have been a random high school after school program. No, she was your mom, but she forgot. Good thing too. She'll be the best friend you ever had this time around. What I'm saying, I guess, I'm saying break. It's okay. Rubik's cubes begin with the total destruction of the one goal we were so focused on before. Pink sings, "Raise your glass if you're right in all the wrong ways." I will not see according to my what the heck? Okay. I don't know. I will not see according to my I'm never wrong about anything, and according to everyone else, I'm never right. That's okay. The correct answer means the question is over, and the fun conversations with my middle school students, ironically enough, are the 2-minute exchanges to determine the product of 5 times 5. Being alive is a mistake, says the greedy sleep stretching and napping on the couch in the back of our minds, desperate to go back to God. True. And if it weren't for an evolutionary accident 300,000 years ago, you wouldn't be able to speak. God bless you, broken one. Only you have the living proof that fear is wrong. You're stronger than the ones who look intact, and bones may weaken if broken and healed, but we walk less as we age anyway. And arms are cradled by old age, aren't they? I will never die, if you ask me. I still want to see how all my pieces are shaped. Thank you, guys.
Angelique, did you want to make that announcement now?
Oh, hi. Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to let everyone know, since I let anyone know, that I have a few self-published books online. My first one was Rise Up Femininity, and they're all available on Amazon. If you put my name into the search field, you will find them. The second book of poetry I published, oh, by the way, I'm just going to say that Alfred Williams is here, right? Not only an amazing Zoom technology host like guru, but he also does graphic design, and he designs book covers, and he designed all of my book covers, both of the ones that I mentioned. And so the third book that I wanted to mention is called The Therapist. It was a short story that I wrote, and I asked our friend Alfred Williams if he would illustrate it. And so it's just as much his book as mine. It's a nice little book, and it's a book of hope for people who have survived abusive situations like I have. So thank you very much, and hands up for Alfred.
Alfred built 2 websites for me. He has taught me how to do a podcast. We have 18 interviews on there now. And please see Alfred if you're interested in a website or some kind of technical help, because he's the best.
Yes.
Survivors of trauma. I do free poetry workshops for veterans. All the women that have come to my workshops are survivors of what's called MST, military sexual assault. They write very powerful poems, as do the men. And they set every second and fourth Thursday of the month on Zoom. If you go to www.jimpoet.com and look in the right column, look for how it works, pins moving across the page. And there's 22 veterans and more committing suicide every day in our nation. And writing programs really help veterans. And so if you know a veteran, tell them it should fit your budget. It's free, and I won't charge. And so after surviving a fall down some stairs, he's with us again, and we're really happy. This is John Kingsmill.
Yeah, yeah.
What kind of times are these? These are fearful times and dangerous too. Wars around the world, war machines in space and in cyberspace. These times are showing us the illusions we live by. Our chameleon nature, our very lostness. News flashes are not trusted. I need passwords everywhere I turn. And live privately on electronic pathways. There is fear in the air everywhere, under our feet, in most every turn. Around the corner, around the world. Even nice words are suspect. Magicians move to fool us while our pockets are picked through. Be wary of the thieves. Keep your guns loaded. Buy water, store food, seek shelter. Everything is hacked. Broken into. Hacking is now a family work. Cell phones are replacing human touch. Teens are tiring of social media. Early death haunts them. And lost people are feeling their lostness. And souls are speaking up on the airwaves. And the folk are listening with their ear to the ground. These are precious times. People's tongues are loosening. Groups are speaking, penetrating possibilities. The government is crippled and falling down. The market, a three-legged stool with only one strong leg. And intelligence is artificial. Our intelligence is being assaulted by our own laziness to live easily and artificially in the illusion we are royal. With Amazon, our faithful servant. These times are showing how selfish we are and how it's emptied us to desperation, returning us to a natural yearning for human love. The hungry want to eat.
What's my time? Yeah, 2 minutes and 52 seconds left. 52 seconds left. 2 minutes and 52.
Oh, that's wrong. Kindness. Kindness emerges on its own, like affection does from love, from somewhere hidden, often forgotten early, yet natural, lasting, and of its own power. Kindness is part of being human, humankind, and reminds me that after all, we are all one. It is holy and sacred because it is life-giving. It can be life-saving. One bleak winter afternoon at twilight,
There's a Jillian
I was
C.
ambling my way across the 300-foot bridge.
Do you want to ask if they want to
300
read?
feet high, when I saw him standing on the
Matt
bridge.
Beam.
My very
tell him
legs
next
became
time.
heavy as iron, trudging through mud as in a nightmare, yet of their own mind moved me toward. I stopped where he stood, ready for his last step. I looked directly into the face of madness, darting wild eyes as big as saucers, greasy black drooping locks of hair, and a devilish, smirky, and challenging grin. Holding him with my eyes, like a newborn, for 5 seconds solid. Words just emerged on their own. That looks dangerous, man. I was with him, embraced him, was him, and he me. Then I turned and trudged away, not looking back. In full knowing I was the agent of the perfect medicine. It does not matter where you see another deeper. Being seen is the missing piece.
we have 6 poets left and we have a half hour before we're closing. So I'm gonna ask you to understand that. And I'm gonna ask if you're called up here, just do 1 poem. So they've been here all day. So let's help them get home on time. Our next poet is, I lost my place. Hold on a second. Lauren, are you here? What is it? Loren. Let's welcome Loren Escamilla. Put the accent on the wrong syllable.
Pronounce my last name.
Hey folks, how you doing today? Good. Good. I'm new to this venue, but not new to poetry. I'm a storytelling poet originally from Michigan, but I moved out here 2 years ago to continue my career with the U.S. Forest Service. I just have 1 poem. It's called In Line Online. Beep boop. You are in line, in the queue, recommended. You use your phone, use your desktops. Don't listen to the tone. I don't think my generation owns desktops. This is only the biggest comic convention in the country. Remaining time, 54 minutes, 45 minutes, 32 minutes towards this comic industry. Man, I really hope I learn my login this time. Wait, why did my waiting time go up? It's fine. 46 minutes waiting. Will my passes be available? Last year they sold out in 46 minutes. My heart beating fast. 32, 28, 18, 16, 11 minutes left in the queue. A few short moments later, and I'm finally in. You have 15 minutes to purchase your passes to beat all of the masses for these tickets. Please reset your password. But I can't open a new tab, and internally I start to panic. I got on this queue 2.5 hours ago, and now I'm in a slight manic. Deep breath, deep breath. See, I have a group of folks. Every year we purchase tickets together for a better chance at the lotteries, at the system lottery, and I frantically call my friend in a hurry. Okay, so this is awkward, but I can't log in. I was not expecting the first in my group as a first year to be able to get in, and I clearly did not plan enough for this moment. And I have to ask her for vital information because I don't feel I'm enough. She gives me her username and password, and a few moments later, I feel like I'm out of the thickets. I got the days I wanted, as well as the days for my 2 colleagues. Congratulations for your 2025 San Diego Comic-Con tickets. Thank you.
It's just what it's like to try to get tickets in Comic-Con.
Yes, that's right. All right, yes, please come back. And who told you about us? How did you find us? Oh, Leah. All right, thank you, Leah, and thank you, Olivia. Cool. Our next poet is gonna be in the San Diego Poetry Annual Veterans Chapter. He comes to my classes. He's an amazing writer. He's also a very strong visual artist. This is Jihmye Magno. Welcome him.
Yeah, so tiny introduction. So a lot of months back, I was in the veteran art group class, and as that was wrapping up, Jim came in and was like, "Hey, we're doing a poetry class. You should stick around." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't write poetry. Like it's not a thing." And then I was like, I ain't got nothing to do. I might as well hang out for this class. So I wrote a poem and it felt real good, and Jim liked it, and it's what got published in the annual after a couple edits and whatnot. And then I went to Burning Man and found a spoken word stage, and I sat there a lot and I listened to a lot of people, and one guy just absolutely shattered my soul. And then another day there's nobody coming up. So I went up there and I just talked for a while, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." When I have the mic and you guys have to listen to me. So then I got home and I started writing like a bunch of poetry. And this is one that I like did at Burning Man. It took me like 4 months to figure out like how to really get it down, and I finished it like 2 days ago. Also, I want to say that I'm super inspired by a lot of you guys here. I don't know your names because you'll find out. But this is called Names and Numbers. I loved being on the freeway as a kid. It is so much more exciting than driving on the surface streets. I tell my mom, hurry, don't lose the race. I understood that this was fun competition with the others in their vehicles. I stopped loving the freeway after I started driving. It became less exciting, more commuting. These slow, selfish others. This is not fun. I understood that these others were taking from me, taking my spot in line, taking my time, getting back to my life. These others competing for my resources. I loathed the freeway after a few more trips around the sun. I learned more about life, the fragility of life. I learned more about risk, damage, injury, death. These fast, reckless others, their accidents, dereliction of attention. I understood that these others were a danger to me and mine and must be treated as such. We're so isolated and anonymous inside of our metal cages of safety. Maybe we would behave better if we could see each other's faces. Maybe we would behave better if we knew each other's names. I'm not good with names though. I can't even remember a person's name is the third or fourth time I've met them. That's not accurate though. I'm not good with learning names, but I do know a few. Jonathan Davis, Julia James, Joey Jordanson, Jorah, son of Gior, Aragon, son of Arathorn II, Darrow, son of Dale of Lycos, Zeno of Citium, Chiron, Seneca, Aldous Huxley, B.F. Skinner, Robin Dunbar. Noticed a pattern, asked some questions, did some testing, came up with some numbers, 5, 15, 50, 150, 200, 1500, 5, the size of Homo sapiens sapiens inner circle. These are your closest family and friends, parents, siblings, BFFs, offsprings, parents, and pets. 15, the amount of lives the human brain can keep track of daily. These are people you may not see daily, but know details about their personal daily lives. 50 familiar friends. These are people you know and like. You may go sometime apart, but it doesn't take long to catch back up. 150. The number of social connections Homo sapiens sapiens can maintain. These are people you may not know well, but can accept because they are accepted by those you accept. Gossip evolved to make this possible. This is Dunbar's number. 150 social connections. 200, the max amount of social connections the human brain can maintain at once. Once this resource is depleted, the brain has no choice but to assume every other person is an outsider who cannot be trusted. An other who is competing for your resources. An other who is a danger to you and yours. An other who must be treated as such. 1,500, the number of names the human brain can match to a face. Like all resources, the human brain has a finite capacity. All names, faces, and social networks are treated equally by the brain. This means all the names, all the faces, all the friends, the influencers, the creators whose lives you follow, all of your virtual social connections are competing with every human you interact with every day, but don't know their name. Maybe we would be kinder if we knew each other's names.
Yes.
Thank you.
Marine Corps veteran, thank you for your service, brother. Eric Goldman, are you here? Have you been here before, sir? This is his first time. Let's make him feel welcome, please. Eric Goldman.
I heard he was here yesterday. Yeah, he was with the chorus group a while back. They're telling on you.
Hello, I'm Eric. A lot of power in your brain, that's good. Shouldn't be drinking, it's heavy machinery. Should operate heavy machinery when you're drinking. Not that you're drinking.
Cheers.
That's a Sheldon quote, by the way.
Alcohol makes me smart.
Yeah, so, this is the title, track, I guess, from, my penultimate, chapbook called Grand Wash. So all love poems are therefore poems that deal with love in general. Could also be about anybody that you might think of in your lives, because you don't know who I'm talking about. And also the idea of love, the love object in any poem could actually be the essence of love itself. Or therefore the spirit of love, maybe the driving force of God or whatever it creates and keeps this place in place by time. Called Grand Wash. There's sense in my false faces, flashed at this callous affliction. I'm burning her favorite incense, so I can forget. But the phone is loaded and cocked off its safety lock. The wise ones always speak of the grand scheme of things, declaring to the dirty that everything comes out in the wash. If so, then it seems to me that in the grand scheme of things, nothing anyone ever does really matters, but I am not a wise one. They say my loss is hers, but if it all comes out in the wash, why am I left behind? Will it take a rancid tooth to tear a hole into this Technicolor dreamcoat? Will I gnash my oral reef and finally shred apart these ghostly bed sheets? Will I be true to the word and refuse to buy tickets to my profane peep show of one? What wrong is there ever to be done if it is all in the grand scheme of things? There must be no evil at all. Even terrarium microcosms, the rape of a spider or the massacre of insect empires. Seasons seem to even it all out. My kiddie railroad used to encircle the Christmas tree, rendered as neglected rust and wood chips when 'twasn't the season any longer. A votive candle is dying as soon as it is lighted. Or is it eternity gyrating bright in a tiny flame? The orange speck of a smoke-pissing incense stick. It blinks, then sags ash. It winks at me or at no one at all. At the end, I can smell the smoldering rod only, a stench like singed tweed as it irritates hostile the nostrils that erupt in a release rageful enough to blow houses down. This residence isn't made of bricks. I'm sorry to say. No one tasty dwells here, and the wolf isn't hungry for this pasty flesh wasted by gradual atrophy, as I'm quarantined behind these thin papyrus walls, audaciously defaced with scrappy scrawls of ink. Even if he tried, the wolf couldn't decipher the code of my complex. Even if I can't touch me in my aerated discorporation, I am off, away. I am struck nonetheless by lightning blasting through my bolted barricade. The sudden blaze stirs and seduces, unraveling the cradle of feline inextricability. When she wounds, that also comes out in the wash. But how do you scrub stains off an insentient entity? And what if this fierce sear feels real? What if I'm not scheming in any way? Am I Mickey Mouse, frolicking about the brim of a striped propeller cap? What if I'm not animated at all? What if I am flat, unerratic, unround, a little to the right? I espouse forthright endeavors, never a scheme. And in ignoble abodes, I am not the hustler, but the hustled. There's no grimy grift in me as I resign to recline, stunned in dismay as her aggravated phantom dissipates in necromanced ecstasy. I would say the creator assumes a scheme, but I have devised my own feeble devices. to disintegrate in a steaming vat of brainwash, where no fragrance or flavor exudes, only the acrid metallic taste of ants, accidentally hijacked from the side of a trash can, a foul confetti. Again, what does it matter? I can't count on how I feel. The prophecies of intuition are the hope and the lie. Think that's the way? Think that's the way. Their truth will still deceive with its inverted perversions, but at least someone must know, orchestrating the interminable opera, never scheming with a swindle. Neither shifty eye nor with sly lips whose corners curl up, just high enough to become a hook for the lyncher's noose. Uprooting oracular shamrocks won't shock or jumpstart a search for purpose. Scars, not a paper trail. Dredge up a legacy. Ribbons of fiery flaming flash must slash gashes into my hunted hide if I am to earn my psychic dynamism, and all I have now are naked eyes that make the stable nervous. To make myself nervous through their nervous eyes, so certain am I that they are as exposed as me. They are. We all have trouble hiding. But yes, it does all come out in the wash. This woman today, if I hold, her optical infidelities will be but a smooth, shiny scar in less than a week. But since time is the wash, pain might clean a wound, but curses are cured by collections of seconds amounting to hours of listless amnesia and lost afternoons when the lackadaisical is left spread out in eagle anguish on the shag, while the other ascends to the ceiling and devours powdered popcorn, delirious with parasitic glee almost done. It's hard to be unwanted by the one who wants only you. All in all, it's all a wanton on and on. But I suppose I must know when I'm scamming myself. I am the zealous zookeeper of bad animal visions, who shudders under the thunder of elephant feet. And now things are arranged just so on the coffee table before me, my brain deranging delusional pig pens of mudless indecency. Here quivers the mutated human apex. I don't dare, please don't do that.
Well,
I don't dare smash this hypnotic timepiece on the dead end edge, but I am provoked to kick its ticking out into the timelessness I desire. Fury feels realist, but it cannot wrench wisdom from the crushed cavities, and neither can docility. And now I'm finally quaking awake, frame shaken fast from fire's fugue. Peacefulness finally defied. Here is my paper trail, lugubrious and unrefined. It needs cleansing. Will I come out in the wash in the grand scheme of things? My best chance is to purchase a pearl after selling 1,000 deadpan intangible to the one who fancies herself goddess. Maybe then my thoughts will be worth more than a penny apiece. And each stream gleaming off the milky sheen will scratch these persistent itches right out of my lungs. And with lucid murmurs, I mutter the message of a mute. Thanks for your respect.
You're welcome here, but there's a lot of people left to read, and we really want to be kind to the people who are. You're not the feature. You're a 5-minute poet, so you're welcome here. But please respect everyone. Please respect everyone else.
How long was that?
That was about 7 minutes.
Oh, okay, sorry, 2 minutes. So sorry.
Not a big deal to you, but there's people waiting to read. Andy Paliciano, who is going to be at the San Diego Writers Festival with us, and who has a book he might tell you about. And Andy, thank you for coming.
Thanks. Thanks, Jim, and yeah, Dee, I hope you're feeling better. Yeah, it's great to be back. I haven't been here in a long time.
We missed you.
Yeah, I know. I miss you guys too. So, my book is The Warrior: The Tales of a Substitute Teacher and Job Coach, and Jim had said he was interested in it for the event for social justice. So I'm glad, and I want to read just one page from it. So this is my experience as being a substitute teacher. In one PE class I taught, achieving a new level of chaos, even for me, there were no walls holding the children in. They could scamper around and tackle each other on the pavement and basically run riot. The minute I began to speak, bedlam exploded. Called to the principal's office, I was told I would never teach at that school again. I went straight to a thrift store and bought a used PE t-shirt from the middle school. On the back of in block letters, it said, always dress in your PE uniform, obey all safety rules, run in an orderly fashion, attitude is everything. Even if that PE class in school had rejected me, I could still be part of the team. At Disneyland with my cousin and her 2 children, a boy and a girl both under the age of 11 years old, we went inside the Princess Castle. The character Belle came over to our table and my cousin's daughter posed with her for a photo, but her brother darted in to spoil the picture on purpose. Belle told him, okay, now I'll take a picture with you. The boy yelled, no, but Belle drew him close. He raised his arms to hide his face in shame. It was a great photograph, one I still own. This feeling of that 10-year-old boy summed up my feelings as a substitute teacher. Being a substitute teacher always made me feel the same way I did when I shopped at a craft store over Christmas, demoralized. The whole time I could see the front of the line, it just wasn't moving. 4-foot poles stuck out of the shopping carts. People inched forward like drones, shuffling, heads down. When customers finished paying, they moved toward the exit door, their heads still down. Suddenly, they would be shocked awake by a slam. Looking up from their daze, they would see the metal pole preventing them from leaving the store with their carts. In that moment, the cashier loved to shout, "Merry Christmas!" Thank you.
I met this poet in one of Steve Kellett's classes, and he's a very talented writer. This is Brian Fidel. Welcome, Brian.
We have 4 poems ready, but since there's a 1 poem 5-minute limit, I picked one that's nice. I'm gonna try to start coming to this every month. I'm starting to publish my poems at wildchildmidnight.com, and I have a YouTube channel at Wildchild Midnight, and the poetry and website name is inspired by a Midnight Special, the blues song, and by Real Wild Child by Buddy Holly. Anyway, so this poem is called "To All the Trans Men I've Loved Before." Strange as angels dancing in the winter dusk sky, sure as January Colorado concrete beneath my moon boots when I was 5, silent, bundled, you, asleep in the morning as I await your waking, hoping I'd fall in love with you for a while. You and you and you. Hey there, Billy. Some sort of trans-Christian conspiracy of grace, just like a dream. Your brothers, your mothers, maybe, yeah, sweetest hope, strange type, Brian David, man, oh me, could, would, and do offer someone to appreciate you, but with the stance of a lover, neither brother nor mother, to all the trans men who loved me before, most especially those who love me as a lover. I have been and always will be in love with you too. I was in kindergarten. I sprained my ankle. The German teacher lady carried me bowling back to class. 1996, Professor Walecki was relieved to be back after his mother's funeral. He told me my rewritten essay was potentially brilliant. I met the first epic love of my life that I could and did have at home. February 2001, before 9/11, just after Joey Ramone died. He was so handsome at 28. I was 24 then. I don't remember the year Grandpa Garnell died. The poem I wrote for his funeral became legend in Utah. My little sister was jealous. Of my 3 sisters, Lisa's daughter is the same strange kind of smart that I am. I have been Mormon my whole life. I still am. I am not LDS. I had my name removed from their records in my 20s. I'll go back if they stop being afraid and hateful of the innocent and joyous. If it stops being the actual church's policy, becomes just history. I'm ashamed of them on behalf of Grandma Alice and Grandpa Garnell. They knew about Brock. They knew about Thomas Love. They were sad for me about Tom that it didn't work out. Alice and Garner were good Christian Mormons. They understood my Taoism as deeply religious. They respected my graduating UCI, more prestigious than June's BA even. June, my mother.
Take your time.
I've been Taoist since I was 18. At 18, Joshua Blauvelt was my first boyfriend. Summer 1995. My friend Joe introduced us. We broke up by that winter. Joshua. There was Daniel, UCI Daniel, 1996 Daniel, 2020 summer Daniel, both of them. I love being in love with both of them. Manhood is a secret, realized in its telling. Fatherhood to a son is the way he becomes obvious before you're even 5 years old. Moon boots, the Apple IIe computer my dad bought in Colorado, me. Love is honesty, revealed in being glad to be wounded. So my heart's been so broken, it is more gold filling the cracks than it is heart by now. Joshua, Daniel, the first one, Tomislav, my Tom, not the Tom my sister married. I almost called Lisa once, ready to scream, at least you got to keep your Tom. Who cares about my poor grandpa's funeral? Tomislav, my heart's still broken over you 24 years later. I will miss you past the day I die. To all the trans men I've loved before, I was someone's pale blue eyes once. There were so many who just liked me to be around. They talked drugs, fiend, women, trouble, resentments, and politics, literally anything but where they came from and why they never talked about it. Robert wanted me to ditch my McDonald's interview to hang out with him, watch porn, and snort insanely strong crystal. He was wounded and angry when I insisted I wouldn't. His ex-girlfriend loved John Lennon's self-portraits but performing cunnilingus for a fish and finger pie after all. Meanwhile, back, how I wish. Well, after year, the same old grounded fear. How I wish you were here. I remember the guy who stole the coat Paul bought me. I thought he was cute. I hope the coat meant I could at least see him again. To all the trans men I've loved before, I trace the scars on my heart with my fingers that, scar by scar, are the names I remember you all by. Fuck all of you. I do it all over again. Love, Brian David. Oh.
Well, we're down to our last poet. And you ready to come up? This is Alistair McLeod.
I'd rather formal outfit is to pack. I just came from seeing Christmas carols in the church. I want to tell everybody that the thought of coming here is feeling like coming home.
Ah.
I'm gonna sing just a few lines, a song that the world is singing to us every day. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long years, stolen a million man's soul and faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain, made damn sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name. But what's puzzling me is the nature of my game. Yes. Just as every cop is a criminal and all the sinners saints, as heads as tails, just call me Lucifer, because I'm in need of some restraint. So if you meet me, have some courtesy, have some sympathy and some taste. Use all your well-learned politesse, or I'll lay your soul to waste. Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name. But what's puzzling me is the nature of my game. That's the song the world is singing to us every single day. Short poem.
real short, please.
What?
Real short.
Absolutely. The tangle of my thoughts is like a heady dream. MAGA nightmares dance around my head. I saw a Patriot truck today with flags ablaze in red, but things are never what they seem. My heart cries out, I need. I'm purer than I was. Can I tell you what I think we ought to do? Learn to examine the soil from which we grew. A tree is dangerous vanity unless it knows its seed. All right. And
We gotta get out of here. We gotta go.
read the film Geronimo. It's about what Mr. Marino tells us every single day.
Okay, so I want to thank you all for coming, and we will definitely be here in January. Second Sunday we'll be here. If you want to talk to somebody about their influences or something, please do. This is our last poem for the day. This is by John Fox. I've been attending his workshops for 26 years. And this is called Poem in Protest and Prayer. John Fox. May light warm rain fall upon the heads of warriors for justice. Those out in the streets marching to arrive at airports in protest, people headed to bear witness at the borders, making their way to hold vigil on courthouse steps. Let gentle hands smooth the brows of frightened refugees, ease anyone whose heart is pressed to the margin of the world. I pray that this touch of tenderness hearten the fragile with little recourse in this onslaught of raw power. May a voice of kindness flit past the guard towers of this daily disrespect for being human, and confer upon my brother hope in the form of standing by, upon my sister courage in the spirit that leads us forward, in the spirit that leads us forward. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jim.
See everybody next year.
Okay. I'll see ya.